similar to a bachelor party in Vegas. We're going into the weekend. There was a lot of nerves, some worried individuals, question marks, and a pretty early bump in the road. But by the end of the weekend, everyone was exhausted, but had an absolute blast. And we cannot wait to do it again next year. It's lights out, and away we go for episode 128 of the Eating Asphalt podcast. I mean, what a wild ride that we had these past 3-4 days, actually, once you include Thursday, and that being important as well. So, I mean, just a lot of highs and lows of emotions, but in general, like I said, what a fantastic weekend that I thought in the Vegas Grand Prix.
It didn't disappoint in terms of how entertaining it was. They're all about entertainment. They're not about pure soul of racing, and I feel like that was perfect. So,
Yeah.
dude, the pictures that came out of this weekend were incredible. The beauty of this track with all the lights and stuff making it a night race, there was nothing else like that. So at least we have that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it was the ultimate. We talked about great idea, execution, needed work. We knew that going into it, but the idea, the promise, like what it can be, and if the actual operations work, this is an awesome spot. I'm so glad that we're here. I'm still so glad we got another 9 years at least at this track. But obviously, we're going to talk about the track. We have another 2-for-1 to end the season. Our famous 2-for-1s. We have our good, bad, and ugly gambling paddock for Vegas, race recap, race predictions recap, Abu Dhabi Grand Preview, country fun facts at Abu Dhabi, gambling paddock for Abu Dhabi, and then our race predictions to finalize the season. So with that in mind, let's get going. All right, good, bad, and ugly. I'll get mine out of the way. My good is going to be a battle going into the final week. We didn't have much of this last year, but going into the year before 2021, that was a battle for 1 and 2. Just so much excitement. Thanks to Ferrari for a strong weekend, despite running into a lot of problems to be discussed in one of my bad or uglies. They were able to score good, strong points, cut the lead to 4 going into Abu Dhabi. And then on top of that, Aston Martin has a small chance to rain on McLaren's parade when they're only down 11 points going to the final race. Slim odds, but crazier things have happened. So I think it's just exciting to see the possibilities of some final top 5 team changes. Hopefully our next and final race recap, we see a little bit change in the top 5. We have not seen that for quite some time.
It's teed up for a nail biter. When I think of Abu Dhabi, my brain immediately goes to Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen being tied going into it. I think Abu Dhabi probably pays F1 a little extra, pays Liberty Media a little extra just to get that good racing. So we have something to race for now that the champions are already decided.
Yeah, very excited for that. My bad is going to be Formula One rules. So one of the biggest discussion points over the weekend started on Thursday when Carlos Sainz's car was destroyed by a loose water valve cover. Caused him to get some new parts, which led him to get a 10-place grid penalty. The FIA, 9 of the 10 principals, Toto, and just about everyone with a brain persisted that this be fixed. He did not deserve to be punished for something that was completely out of his and the team's control, yet they were unable to change it and caused what could have been potentially a near-perfect weekend for Ferrari to go down the drain, pun intended. So F1 rules really just putting a stink to my parade.
Yeah. I don't want to go too much because it's in my good, bad, ugly too, but God damn it, Toto. You narc, you nerd, you piece of shit. But I'll save it for mine.
Thank you. And then my ugly is going to be Max Verstappen. So another big talking point this weekend was consistently hearing of Supermax's disdain for his time on and off the track. We got quotes like, the Vegas GP is 1% sport, 99% show. When asked if he enjoyed the track, I very quick no, and not really a smirk or anything about that. Also saying fans should burn the track down to cause a disaster event to get their monies. For someone who says he cares about the fans, ripping on something before it happens and is not going to get anyone excited, him just being like, this sucks, don't get excited for it, this is a terrible idea, is not going to get the fans being like, oh, can't wait for this weekend, can't wait for this sport, can't wait to watch you. all that negativity for it to be one of the best races of the year. Still waiting for Max to eat his words, but knowing him, it'll be a cold day in Joseph's house before he'll admit that he's wrong. Get it? Instead of hell.
Nice.
His father, huh?
Yeah.
Same thing, kind of.
Whoops.
So that was my ugly. Yeah, just it was cool to see Leclerc, Lewis, other guys being like, this is sick. What a great environment. They really outdid it. Obviously, things to fix, but in general, great idea. And just it was annoying to just consistently hear him just be like, this is the worst.
Yeah. No, and I mean, Max got passed on the track by Merritt before he pit toward the end of his first stint. So it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's like things weren't so dominant from Red Bull that maybe he's just like, oh, well, no matter where the track is, like I automatically don't like it just because my car is not twice as fast as every other car out here. But
yeah.
Anyway, all right, my good, bad, and ugly. I'm going to start off with good with Jacques Villeneuve. So love was in the air. 1997 champion Jacques Villeneuve did what many people do when they're getting married for the third time, like he was. He got hitched in Vegas, baby. I saw the post on like the ESPN F1 Instagram. I was like, oh, that's fun. That's cute. What I didn't know is that he didn't know it was going to happen. So Formula One reached out to his then fiance and was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be funny if like you did this? And instead of getting married in Milan, Italy, in their home,
Oh, perfect.
yeah, they got married on the strip in Las Vegas. Jacques didn't know it was going to happen, lasted 10 minutes, and then it went from their wedding to a couple hours later watching the first and only couple of minutes of FP1. So I saw the pictures. I was like, that's kind of cute. It's like a driver getting married at a racetrack. Do you think he was happy or like annoyed that it was like, hey, wake up, you're going to get married, right? Like today.
I mean, I'm hoping some cash consideration, like, hey, we'll give you guys a hell of a wedding present when you guys get like legit married in Milan. I'm guessing that's not going to get ruled out. They're not going to be like, actually, now our friends and family aren't going to our wedding. Guessing it's just a twofer. And so if that's the case, and they're like, hey, if you want the nicest honeymoon, Formula One's got it. I'm cool with it. But I mean, I guess it's cool to get his name back. You know, you don't really hear of him too much often anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there was a hefty chunk of change that was like coming from the higher ups, like, hey, we need this picture. We need some content.
Yeah, we need some craziness, the Vegas lifestyle.
Yeah, we can do a fake wedding for you if you want, and then give us, $1 million or something like that.
Yeah.
My bad, similar to yours. It's just Toto Wolff. He's on the nerd alert big time for me. He was bolstering up Liberty Media and Formula One by only highlighting the good that they were doing and not letting us like enjoy the chaos that this race objectively was. His quote was, how can you dare talk bad about an event that sets the new standards for everything? Then you're speaking about a drain cover that's been undone. That happens before, and that's nothing. This is FP1. Give credit to the people that have set up this Grand Prix, that have made the sport bigger than it ever was. Have you ever spoken good about someone and written a good word? Liberty has done an awesome job, and just because an FP1 a drain cover has become undone, we shouldn't be moaning. Now, he's right in that, like, no one's disputing, like, hey, Liberty's made this sport way bigger. Like, that's awesome. We needed that. But that doesn't mean, like, just because someone does something good and grows a sport, doesn't mean you can't be critical. Like, how dare you talk bad about it, dude? Like, come on. What do you mean? How dare they were like, Ferrari had to pay $1.5 million because of a very avoidable thing. You know it's avoidable because they were like, oh, well, we got to run out and cover them up. It's like, yeah, you should have covered them in the first place.
This will be fine.
Yeah, dude. Between the drain, like, and in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, like, how funny would it be if this was Christian Horner saying this about a Mercedes driver who ran over a drain cover, and how big of a show would Toto have thrown, if, especially now when Ferrari and Mercedes are battling, that would have been the end of the world for him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. He's on my nerd alert. Toto, stop being a nerd.
I do think it was ridiculous. He's like, who cares about free FP1? It's not a big deal. Well, I mean, hundreds of thousands of people paid for that. So those people that actually paid to go and view that, some people only got Thursday tickets. So they're like, hey, this is our one day. This is our one time to go. And he's like, oh, who cares about these people and spending their time and hard-earned money to come here only for them to get kicked out 8 minutes into FP1? That's not a big deal. It's about the actual point and the weekend. It was a pretty like unthought of and like ridiculous comment to say.
He's basically saying like, who cares about the poor people that can only afford Thursday tickets?
Yeah.
Anyway, Toto, wag of the finger. And then ugly, I'm officially worried about losing P4. I thought that
No.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
No, dude. 11 points? No.
Yeah, dude. Lance Stroll finishing top 5 in the last 2 races leads me to believe that car's probably a little improved over the last couple weeks. So that sucks. And I don't know. I'm gonna be crushed. We were watching the race over FaceTime together, and you were like, "Are you kind of worried about this?" I was like,
"You're like, what are you talking
I was like,
about?
how are they gonna make up a 45 or 50 point gap in 2 races?" And then I checked. I was like, "Oh yeah, we're a lot closer than I thought."
Yeah.
Than I
I
thought.
was like, it's 21 points. You're like, no. I was like, dude, it's 21 points. Like, oh, okay. Now I'm worried. I saw your face go from not worried at all to worried in live. It was kind of nice.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm really worried, and I just know we're gonna get our first mechanical, like double mechanical retirement of the season, and all it's gonna be like they just need like a P8 and a P7 to win it. But
that'll be fun. That'd be crazy.
Whatever.
All right. Well, that does it go for a good, bad, and ugly. Let's move on to our gambling paddock. All right. So my arbitrage, it did work. I covered my basis. So I did both Red Bull drivers to finish in the top 3 plus 200, half a unit on that. Got it. But no team that has drivers in the top 3 plus 130 didn't get that. So I zeroed that out. And then Alonso top 6, half a unit on that, missed it. So I went down $10.
Not bad. Lando did not finish in the top 3. In fact, he finished the first DNF of the race. So plus 100 coming back my way. Verstappen and Perez top 3 easy. So that's 60 points. But then I lost Sergio Perez fastest lap. In retrospect, I didn't, I think I saw the plus 1400 and I was like, here's my ticket back, dude. Here's my ticket back to positive. But overall, 40 points on the weekend, 358 points. What does that make me behind you? $62 behind?
54.
54? That's what I said.
Is just, I would say the gap is pretty similar or even closer in the gambling paddock versus Aston Martin McLaren.
That's true. So
there's a chance
right there.
All right. Well, that does it for our Vegas gambling paddock. Let's move to our race recap of Vegas.
All right. Pre-race. Pretty entertaining one. FP3, Lance Strolovich, of all people, gets a 5-place grid penalty for passing on a double waved yellow. Naughty, naughty, Lance. Can't do that, idiot. And that was mostly what people were looking at. FP3, it kind of carried over into qualifying. So not a lot of other stories about Q1. Some people were trying to highlight that both McLarens were out in Q1. It's not more focus on the Lance stuff. Lewis and Perez out in Q2, craziness. And then nice to see Logan Sargent on his home soil making it into Q3. An extremely, extremely impressive feat. It's like P7. I got way in my mind, and I was like,
yeah,
we get podium if some stuff goes wrong tomorrow.
Oh my
podium
gosh,
for the American? Dude. Crazier stuff's happened, you know what I mean? Like we just need a crash at the front at the start, 1 crashing into 2, and then 3, 4 get caught up, and then 5, you know what I mean?
And just stops at 6.
Yeah.
So crazy.
That would, be nutty. But I mean, overall, it was an entertaining like pre-race. Like there was a lot of different stuff going around. Just as far as like, Red Bull. I mean, Sergio doing his thing that you knew he was gonna do of starting way back and then trying to make up as many spots as he could. And then obviously I was trying to make light of it, but McLaren being out in Q1 was troublesome.
Yeah, Ferrari with the front row lockout would have been really nice too. Them both finishing 1-2 and then Sainz having to drop 10 is just tough. So they were in just the perfect position to potentially win another race this season.
Yeah.
But unfortunate. We move on. All right, our top 5, P5 with 12 points on the weekend. Aston Martin, Alonso P9 to stay at P9. Lance Stroll P19 up to P5, so very strong for him. Like Ian said, back-to-back races. P5 for Lance Stroll. It's just unfortunate for Alonso. I think they could have pulled a lot more points out of this weekend and made that 11-point gap much closer, or even maybe taken it. Because coming into turn one from lap 1, going bumper to bumper with Bottas, he got hit from behind, spun around. So from then on, he was basically starting P19, P20, and it was just a battle to get points from then on. So he was just slowly making his way up. When you start at the back of the grid at the first lap, there's only so much you could do. So I think it was a pretty good race for him as well to get back up to P9. Just unfortunate start for him.
Yeah, he was doing his best Sergio Perez impression, was like, "Oh, I'll start way back, but I guess my car's not bad, so look at me, I'm a good driver."
Yeah.
He's really doing like P5 back-to-back races in 2 of the last 3 races of the season. Like, he's making a case that he should stay around. Like he's begging his dad. He's like, "Dad, look at this like I am on a rocket ship. You got to."
He's like, "Don't look at the past 19 weeks. Look at these past 2.
Look at the future. We're a future-looking team." P4 McLaren, 2 big points on the weekend coming from Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris P15 to a DNF. Oscar Piastri P18 to P10 with that fastest lap because your boy's speedy out there. Bad weekend. Just from front to back, just bad. Lando, very scary crash going into lap 3. On the radio was some of the scariest shit that I ever heard, that like reinforced how scary it must be to be a race engineer, and just not like, as soon as you see a crash on your monitor, they're like, "Hey, are you okay?" And then the driver just needs to like take a second, like catch his breath, something like that, and just like, "Hey, are you okay?" And don't get anything back. But of course, walked away all right. Or I guess he didn't walk away all right. He was still in like a hospital bed afterward. But I think these guys are tough. They're like little babies, got soft bones. And then dude, Oscar with that fastest lap, you can't complain about that. Like, you can have a good weekend, but if you're like the fastest lap, or if you run the fastest lap in the race, your car's not a complete box. So that's what we're holding on to. We are currently 11 points ahead of Aston Martin.
Yeah,
some people are nervous.
It'll be fun. I think you have nothing to worry about, my friend. All right, moving on to P3. So 104 points ahead of McLaren. I don't think you're going to get us. 26 points on the weekend. Ferrari, Carlos Sainz, P2, back to P12, up to P6. Charles Leclerc, P1 to P2. So Sainz, it's a very similar situation that Alonso had. Tagged loose into turn 1, got very back in the pack, around like 1 car in front of Alonso. They both were just that slow, hard grind of making it back up. So also a pretty good drive to go from P12 up to P6, given that he was at the back. So really showed that Ferrari was super strong this weekend to go from 12 to go from 2 to 12 to 18 back up to 6. So was battling hard this entire weekend. So great to see him. And then Charles, P1 to P2, like you said, it was great to see, like, by performance. You don't rarely see anyone passing Max. We've seen it maybe once or twice this year, passing Max by performance and performance alone on the first stint. So they definitely could have potentially won this race. People were talking about going into turn 1, Max clearly pushing Charles to the side and pushing him out. And when Max went out as well, people were thinking, hey, he's got to get the spot back. And the FI just said, hey, 5-second penalty. Of course, Red Bull is just the quickest in the pits too. So it went from 5 seconds. It was a 2.2 pit stop change. So it didn't affect him as much as it should have. A lot of people were saying. But against all odds, Ferrari was just doing their best to come out with some good points. Obviously, we said the Sainz dilemma, Charles getting pushed off. And then the yellow flag coming in at just a terrible time for Charles was just a bunch of things just not going in their way. And for the first time in a while, not Ferrari's fault. My notes during the race was towards the end was lap 39. this sport's dumb. So this was when Perez passed Charles, lap 44. The sport is dumber than it was at lap 39. This is when Max passed Charles. Then lap 50. Yeah, I love the sport. So it was just a high roller coaster of emotions the last quarter of the race for me. Even with Max trying to slow down to give Perez the long slipstream the last couple of laps, he still made an incredible move in the final moments of the race. And then at the end, when they were kind of talking, the three guys talking, Charles's face when they found out that both Red Bulls had had actually pit during the yellow was pretty entertaining. It's just like, Jesus, like, was I really the only one? So, I mean, great for him to go very old tires, going with much fresher tires on Checo and being able to pass him. Just all around, Charles did absolutely everything he possibly could have.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's an awesome way to end a race. Like perfect way for a lap. If we're not going to get some action at the very front of the grid, at least give us some action at in P2 and
back to back with Sergio getting just tucked in the final half lap.
Yeah. All right, on to our P2 team, Mercedes, 10 points this weekend for a total of 392 points. Lewis Hamilton starting P10, even though he went out in Q2 thanks to Carlos. He started P10, finishing P7. George Russell starting up to P3 and then finishing P8. Tough race for the McLaren guys. Lewis, you mentioned it earlier, got that puncture with Carlos. He had the funniest part of this race, which is when he just absolutely wrecked into a bollard, like one of those like little cones. Just realized he wasn't going to make the corner and smashed into one of those things and it went flying. So that was, one of the funnier points of the race. And you could hear even the commentators were like, oh, yeah, he hit that. Like he smashed into that. And then I don't know what else to say like that. It's just put up or shut up time. Like you're either going to have a good car or have the inconsistency that's going to lead Ferrari to be able to overtake you guys, because Ferrari's faster than them. But they just got to put everything together if they want to keep this P2 right now.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our P1, Red Bull, Verstappen, P2 to P1, Sergio, P11 up to P3, 40 points on the weekend, 822 points on the year. Like we said, Max 5-second penalty for pushing Charles off the track. If this is the penalty, why not be that dangerous? Because you took a position back. He was able to pull away for a little bit for, if he had that faster car, he would have just pulled way far away. Thankfully, the Ferrari did kind of chip away and come back. Around lap 35, when Sergio was in the lead, Charles in the second, Max was behind him. Sergio, it seemed like, was kind of pulling that sign where he was trying to keep Charles within DRS range to basically help Max and fight against Max from passing Charles and passing him. That definitely backfired, because within that same lap, Charles then passes Sergio, which was an awesome move, kind of a surprising too. They're like, is Sergio trying to defend Max by using Charles? So kind of a wild game within a game right there. And then a frustrating part was Max basically having zero performance drop after the bump with George Russell. Was kind of frustrating, like lost part of his front wing, no problems right there. So was able to finish the race out, no problems. To see that, you would assume that most other drivers do have a performance drop. He might have, maybe minusculely, but like it looked like nothing happened for him. So that was just, of course, Max, like the 5-second penalty. This is just kind of got a little lucky this race, but he's also winning every race. So how lucky can you get?
Yeah. It would have been nice. I know it was like an illegal pass, like he got penalized for it. It would have been nice to see Charles go around like 2 or 3 times and just be in the lead, like not have Max at least out of the way behind him for a couple of laps. Yeah. I know I'm getting crazy with my expectations of what good racing is now.
Yeah. Well, that does it for our race recap. Let's move on to our race predictions recap of Vegas. Going into the weekend, I was up 35-24. And I stay 35-24. That's it for our race predictions recap for Vegas. Moving on to our Abu Dhabi Grand Preview. Not our best. I would say that's probably the first time all season that we've not got any. That's fun. So let's talk about the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. All right, Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at Yas Marina Circuit. There is 16 turns, two DRS zones, one speed trap coming out of DRS zone 2, 58 laps. So, you know, a larger circuit, but not, you know, one of the bigger ones, not what we just saw in Vegas. First Grand Prix was in 2009. Max has won the last 3, including that controversial one in 2001. 3 main things to talk about the track. It's a great track for overtaking. There's a 1.2 kilometer straight between turns 5 and 6, and then another straight between 8 and 9, pretty long as well, with some technical turns between turns 10 and 16. Point number 2, another counterclockwise track. The technical turns and a lot of this lateral load in the car is going to be really hard on the driver's left side of their necks. Just putting all that lateral turn for some of these like very technical sharp turns. And then 3, it's another party city. It's another night race, which is great. I feel like everyone's excited. Hey, night race, Yas Marina, all these fun things. It's going to be hard to top it when you're coming from Vegas. I think maybe something has to be shifted around a little bit. It's hard to go from there and be like, oh, this is even going to be better. But Yas Island has over $40 billion of investment over the past 10 years, 7 hotels, a Ferrari indoor theme park, a mall, a water park, a golf course, a beach, concert, and a nightclub. Hotels have trackside views, or you could watch the yacht from a yacht in the marina. So, I mean, it's just pretty glam and glitz, pretty cool spot to go. Weather, Friday, Saturday, highs of 83 and sunny. Sunday, high of 82, partially cloudy. So great weather to end the season on.
Yep, love it.
All right,
Marina.
Yas Marina. Moving on to our country fun facts. Ian, would you care to go?
I would love to. So my country fun facts, my number 1, I think I've said this before, but falconry is big in Abu Dhabi. Integral part of the Emirati culture, considered a traditional sport, symbol of bravery, nobility. They even have a falcon hospital in Abu Dhabi. So a hospital specifically for falcons.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. You can also travel with them. Like if you have like, oh, I'm working on my falconry, you know, I gotta fly. But you have to have a bird passport.
Of course, yeah.
It's something that I verified. You have
nice.
Like if you're traveling for a competition or something, you have to have a passport for your bird. My other fun fact, we have camel beauty pageants in Abu Dhabi. Camel beauty contests are a significant part of the Emirati culture. These pageants judge camels based on criteria: size of their heads, size of their necks, humps, overall appearance. I don't know what overall appearance goes to. I guess that's just like measuring vibes.
Yeah.
But winning camels can like get their owners big, huge prizes. I'm talking like 6-figure dollar prizes. Yeah. And like other pageant contestants, you can also get forcibly kissed by former President Donald Trump. Remember that when he was just like, oh, I like to go in and kiss him.
I don't, but I need to look it up, I guess.
Dude, it was like a whole thing. He was on a bus with like an Inside Edition guy or something. He was like, I like to go in there, and when you're a star, they let you do what you want. Anyway, this is a political podcast now.
Of course.
If you don't have a particularly beautiful camel, Marco, don't worry, because it's not just pageants that they do. You can also race them. So camel racing, big time sport in the UAE. Don't dive too deep into that one. Like don't look up a lot, because I was like, oh my God, wait, what is this? They have robot jockeys? Like this seems freaking awesome. Why don't we have like some more attention on this? The reason they have robot jockeys is because they had to stop using children. So children, 6 to 8-year-old, were getting trafficked too much. And the UN stepped in and told the UAE, you have to do remote control jockeys so that the kids don't have to race these camels.
Wow, that's what.
Kind of a bummer.
Yeah, not the greatest, but they fixed it. They're fine. All right, I got to run through these because I'm super late. But
okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right, great job. My country fun facts. Abu Dhabi's built the first zero carbon, zero waste, car-free city, Masdar City, expected to hold 50,000 people. only 2,000 at the moment. They're going to be there. Abu Dhabi has a Minister of Happiness. That's the sickest job I've ever heard. And it has its own Louvre that they have to pay the Louvre to be like, can we have another one? Which is nice, I guess, little fake job.
Copycat.
Nice. That does it for our country fun facts. Onto our gambling paddock. Mine is going to be Sergio Perez will not finish in the top 3, -150. Charles Leclerc, top 3, +160, 1 unit each.
Love it. I'll go Aston Martin. Both of them finish or record points rather, +150. Sergio Perez finished in the top 3, +100. Lando Norris, fastest lap, +600. Back to the well for Sergio Perez, fastest lap, little insurance policy, +1,200.
Whoa. All right, going for it. I love it.
Gotta win.
All right, and our final thing, our race predictions. I'm going to just throw mine on there for our final one of the year. Mine is going to be Crouch for DNF, Valtteri Bottas. Winner, Max, huge. Last place, Logan Sargent. Driver of the day, Charles. Douche of the day, George. Wildcard prediction, Max. I'm going to copy yours from my suite. Max doesn't win, no DNF. Fastest lap, Max. Pole, Charles. Cars don't finish 2.
Nice. I'll go Charles for my crash DNF, Lando for my winner, Nico Hulkenberg, last place, driver of the day, Lando Norris, douche of the day, Sergio Perez. Wildcard prediction is Logan to finish ahead of Liam. So he needs 2 points and needs Liam to get 0 points. Carlos pole and 3 cars don't finish. Let's race in Abu Dhabi, baby.
All right.
Last one of the
season. Let's go. Let's have a time.
Everybody get excited, baby.
All right. See you, assholes.
See you, assholes.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I live my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.